Good afternoon, and thank you for being here in a new community chats on this Thursday, 18 of July, 2024. My name is Sandra Arevalo, and I'm the Director of Community Health and Wellness at Montefiore Nyack Hospital in Rockland County, New York. And today we're with James Mullen, and we're going to be talking about swimming accidents, but more important than the accidents themselves is how to avoid those swimming accidents. We are very lucky to have James with us. He is from the YMCA, and we love the YMCA, especially here in Rockland, because of all the programs that they have. But let me tell you a little bit about James. So James Mullen is a dedicated professional and father of 4 young children, so a lot to take care of when you're in a pool or at the beach or something, because you have to be running after 4 kids with extensive experience in operations, facilities, safety, and aquatics management. He serves as the Director of Operations at the Rockland County YMCA in Nyack, and he has held this role since January of 2023. In this position, he oversees the daily operations, ensuring the efficient and effective delivery of services to the community. But since January 2022, he has also held the position of Director of Facilities, where he's responsible for maintaining and improving the physical infrastructure of the Y. His commitment to safety and excellence is further demonstrated in his role as Director of Safety Buildings and Aquatics, which he has fulfilled since June 2020. And in this capacity, he ensures a safe and welcoming environment for all members and staff. He also has led the development and implementation of the aquatics programs that promote water safety and skill development. And prior to joining the Y, he served as the Director of Aquatics at the Union Avenue Community Fitness Center in New Windsor, New York, from March 2018 to the 19th. So as you can see, his extensive background in aquatics includes leadership roles with the Pine Bush Aquatics Club, also where he served as head coach and assistant head coach. And additionally, he brings a wealth of experience from his service as a firefighter with the FDNY, where he served from July 2008 to April 2015 in the greater New York City area. So we can see that he's strongly committed to community service and safety. And, you know, we're very lucky to have him because he has made a very positive impact throughout his work at the Rockland County Y, ensuring a safe, inclusive, and thriving environment for all. So aren't we lucky to have James here today with us to talk to us about safety? So James, you have a PowerPoint, and let me ask you something. Would you prefer that people wait with their questions to the end, or do you prefer that I read their questions as they come in? What's better for you?
Let's do the questions as they come in, because I don't want people to forget or me to lose the head of steam that I get going on a particular topic.
So I will definitely read you those questions as they are coming in. But James, tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, I said a lot already about yourself, but you know, what inspired you to be, you know, a firefighter and now in aquatics and save lives? How this all came to be?
Sounds great. So I grew up one of 5 children. My mom spent her entire life around the pool coaching and teaching swimming. So it's something that was bred in me very young. I grew up as a swimmer. I swam on the Pine Bush swim team as an adolescent. And as early as I was able to start working, I was brought in. I became a lifeguard and a swim instructor at the age of 15. So from as early as I could, I was involved in some fashion in aquatic education. Then when it came time to choose a career, I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. And I took my civil service test and I scored really well. And I was fortunate to get onto the FDNY. Unfortunately, that was cut short. I have no cartilage left in my right ankle, so they put me out. But as a result of that, I got to start a second career, and my second career brought me right back to my first passion, which was aquatics. Through that journey, I was doing a lot of coaching of the Pine Bush Aquatics Club. It's a USA Swim Club. From there, having young children, I needed to figure out something a little bit more full-time. So that's when I took the jump from just a coach to an aquatics director. And then the opportunity opened up down here in Rockland at the Y. And I had previously, while still on the fire department, my wife and I lived down in Mount Vernon. So I had started coaching, I had missed it, and I was working, and a firefighter schedule gives you some flexibility to do some side work. So I had coached the Mount Vernon swim team while I was down there. So then when an opportunity opened up to get back with the Y, I jumped at it, and here I've been since October of 2019, through the pandemic and all of that. And I've slowly worked my way up to now overseeing the building, which still keeps me involved in aquatics. The aquatics director works hand in hand with me. Currently, our aquatics director is Marcus Hawthorne, who I actually taught how to swim 3 years ago. He's a NIAC resident who came up through our teen program. He graduated from RCC last year and is figuring out what he wants to do past his associate's degree. But in the interim, we have him here as our aquatics director. So that has all led me to this. And then when Sandra had reached out, looking for someone to talk about aquatic accidents, it was the perfect opportunity for me to get on and talk about something I'm overly passionate about. So I
was a match made in heaven. Then.
It was perfect. I saw it and I was like, I want to do this, because I easily could have handed this off to Marcus, but I was like, nope, this one's for me. So here at the Y, I'm currently a Red Cross lifeguard instructor and a Y USA swim lesson instructor trainer. So I can teach lifeguards and swim instructors. I'm certified in both of those. So it's pretty cool. And it gives me a lot of opportunities to have really major impact. So it's pretty exciting.
So I think I have the first question of the day. How do you become a lifeguard instructor?
So the lifeguard instructor, you need to be 18 years old. And it's a course offered through the American Red Cross. So you need to already have been a lifeguard. And then once you have your lifeguarding, you can take the lifeguard instructor course, which is a more in-depth version of the lifeguarding course, where you spend time co-teaching or teaching mock lessons to the other lifeguard instructors. I took mine at SUNY Purchase. It was over the course of like 10 weeks. We would go for 3 hours a night back in 2012. We've run a couple here at the Y. We'll do it over the course of a weekend. It's about 30 hours, 35 hours of training with some blended learning built into that. But it just prepares you to deliver the Red Cross's curriculum, which is outstanding. And they just did an update. So typically it was about every 4 years, the Red Cross would put out an update for lifeguarding and CPR changes. This one, due to COVID, took 7 years. So the 2017 version is being retired at the end of August, and the 2024 version will be fully active come the end of August. So, so yeah, that great question.
And how long is the trainer if you wanted to be a lifeguard instructor?
The lifeguard instructor trainer is
Oh,
about
not
30.
the instructor, just the lifeguard. I'm sorry.
Just the lifeguarding is, we do it here, blended learning. The 2017 version was 20 and a half hours in person with 7.5 hours online. So it's about 28, 29 hours. The new version goes up to 24 hours in person with the same 8 hours online coursework. So it'll be about 32 hours of training for the
And
2020.
how old do you need to be?
You need to be 15 by the last day of the course. So we can
Okay.
hire as young as 15.
That is
It's
nice.
harder to find a job locally at 15 because there's Department of Health parameters.
Yep.
But we hire here at 15. It's just specific shifts that student or an employee would have to work because there has to be someone else in the building with you.
Yeah, that is
can never work
good
with
to know because I have a lot of people that actually ask me, especially before the summer. It's like my child is 15, they want to volunteer, but they don't take volunteers until they're 16, but they don't want to be home. So it's actually a good thing to know because we can send people for training and
Yeah, no, typically from February through June, we're running 15 to 20 students per class that we run.
Wow.
So it's a really busy time of the year for us with lifeguarding. Actually, just anecdotally, one of the reasons the Y was able to stay open during COVID was lifeguarding. It's the only thing we could do. Department of Health and the state came out and said, we can't run summer camp indoors. We can't do a lot of stuff. We can't have the gym open. We can't have the fitness center open. But we can run lifeguarding classes. So I was running one lifeguarding class a week through the month of July. I think I ended up training, it was about 60 kids that summer to get lifeguard trained because no one did it from March through June. So it was it's an interesting time to look back on, to say the least.
Well, thank you so much for that introduction. Very useful information already. So we are all looking at your screen. So feel free to start whenever you feel comfortable.
Sounds good. Okay, so first thing I wanted to talk about is just swim safety statistics. It's staggering when you look at the numbers globally and locally of how drowning affects our global population. As you can see here, the global perspective, drowning is the third leading cause of unintentional death worldwide. 236,000 people drown every year. That is just a terrifying number when the majority of our world is covered in water. The fact that so many people fall to drowning is just scary. Nationally, we have about just under 4,000 unintentional drownings annually and over 8,000 non-fatal drownings. So that's people who are resuscitated and brought back based on the CDC data. The highest risk is among children aged 1 to 4. Actually, drowning is the leading cause of death, unintentional death, in children under the age of 5. And one of the scary things as a father of 4 that I learned early on in my journey in aquatics was if a child doesn't make it to kindergarten, the statistics say it's because they drowned. And when you hear that and you put that into perspective, it makes you really believe that we need to do something. It's more than just a one-off. It's an epidemic that's going on. And here in Nyack, being a river town, it's something that we here at the Y take very seriously. Males are more at risk than females, and that's because at younger ages, specifically, males are more adventurous than females, and they're trying to, at least the data shows that they are less likely to be fearful of going into deeper water, especially when they're with their friends. And there are major ethnic disparities in the drowning rates, which I'm going to get to right now. The overall statistics, according to the CDC, drowning rates vary significantly by ethnicity. African American children aged 5 to 19 drown in swimming pools at rates 5.5 times higher than those of white children at the same age range. And African American children aged 11 to 12 drown at rates 10 times higher than white children. And a lot of that data is tied to the fact that socioeconomically, it's harder for African American families to afford swim lessons when they are younger and at that more impressionable age range to learn how to swim. White children have the second highest drowning rates, although it's significantly lower than African American children. Hispanic children have a drowning rate that is about twice that of white children. Cultural factors and lack of access to swimming lessons are major contributing factors. Native American children have drowning rates similar to those of African American children, and the higher prevalence in natural water settings like rivers and lakes typically is where they're found to have this occur. Asian and Pacific Islanders have lower drowning rates compared to African American and Hispanic children. However, their rates are higher than those of white children in certain regions of the world. The major factors that are contributing to these disparities: access to swimming facilities. Minority communities often have less access to swimming pools and swim lessons. Differences in in the attitudes towards swimming and water safety, the prevalence they put on it. A lot of times, adults who haven't learned how to swim will be less likely or more fearful to have their children learn how to swim, so they'll just avoid the water at all costs. Socioeconomic status: there's limited resources to afford swimming lessons and safety equipment. Here at the Y, we try to make swim lessons as affordable as we can, and we'll get into some of the programmings that we offer a little bit later. But even here, to be able to maintain the pool and the facility, we charge $20 to $25 per lesson to run swim lessons. So that is not a small amount of money for families. And that's really as low as we can go without any additional funding to be able to offer swim lessons and keep the pool open and maintained.
And James, do you have to be a Rockland resident in order to take the classes at the Y here in Naya?
You don't have to be a Rockland resident, but we do require memberships to the Y. For youth, that's $12. It just went up to $14 a month for a youth membership here at the Y. So that would be in addition to the swim lessons. We do have some pretty cool programs going on that don't require memberships, but to do swim lessons here at the Y, that is one of the things we require a membership. And we have different levels. Family memberships are about $85 for a family with 2 adults and as many children as you have. But that is an additional cost that is tied to the swim lessons.
And what's the youngest you can start taking classes?
6 months. So at 6 months, we offer a parent, or we call it a parent and child class, but it's any grown up, which we constitute as over the age of 18 in the water with an infant. And we have a curriculum where they're going to teach not only the baby, but they're going to really be working with the grown up on how to be safe around the water and be safe in the water. One of the things I love about the Y swim lesson program is the main thing we teach is always asking for permission. So you should never be, as a child, entering the water without asking someone for permission. And that's something that we ingrain from the very first lesson, no matter what stage. If you're taking adult lessons, it's the same, where you're asking for permission from the instructor before you enter the water. So it's just something that the Y really thought about when they came up with the swim lesson program, on how we can try to make it just a little bit safe. And that is one of the really crucial pieces of Y swim lessons that I think, if you take nothing else away, it's teach children you can't go near the water without asking for permission.
Yeah, that's a very good one, actually.
Yeah. So let's keep going. Any other questions right now? So this just highlights the risk factors. Lack of swimming ability. Many drownings occur because individuals don't know how to swim. The lack of barriers, absence of barriers like pool fencing, also increases risk. The Hudson River is there. There is not a fence that is along the Hudson River. And if children, especially high needs children, find or typically drawn to water, this is a lot of times how you end up seeing accidents like that. Lack of close supervision, particularly in, this is relevant for young children. Something we notice often, we all have cell phones, and if you have your cell phone while you're watching your children in the pool, it takes less than 30 seconds for a child who goes underwater to become a drowning or at risk of drowning. So that 30-second reel that you're watching could be the difference between the life and death of your child in the water. So it's making sure that when you are at the pool with your children, you are closely supervising them. Locations, pools, natural water settings, bathtubs. One of the things the Red Cross really tries to hone in on is it takes 6 inches of water for a drowning. Kiddie pools can be just as dangerous as an Olympic-sized pool. A bucket of water in your backyard could be just as dangerous as an Olympic-sized pool, because all you need is the head to be underwater. So making sure that you keep safe in all of those atmospheres, and that you're vigilant, and that your children are aware and know, ask for permission. There's really nothing more we can do than teach them you're not near water without an adult knowing, and ideally an adult there watching. Alcohol use, a significant factor in adolescent and adult drownings. One of the things I really wanted to highlight when given this opportunity, the AliveSolutions.com has a lot of wonderful resources for parents on picking appropriate colored swimsuits. It's not something we think about until you have an incident. But when you look at these pictures, for lifeguards and for parents and grown-ups who are watching children in the water, the color of a swimsuit really does matter. The water has a magical effect of making things underneath it disappear. There's some really scary videos of watching families at hotel pools or in different areas where they don't even see the child go under the water, and where a lot of times we're taught to see someone who's drowning with their hands up, waving and calling for help. Children under the age of 5, that is not what they look like. Typically, they go underwater and they don't come back up. And that is the problem. The water wings, the swimmies that parents get are wonderful tools when you cannot be in the water with your child. But it also creates a false sense of security that your child believes that they're a swimmer when they're not yet. So making sure that they know they're not allowed near the water without an adult in the water, or with some sort of life-saving vest or their swimmies on is crucial. I've seen far too many articles and videos where children come out of the pool for lunch, they have their swimmies taken off, and the parent walks away, and next thing they know, the child's under the water when they come back outside because the child forgot that they never put their swimmies back on. Here, when you look at this visibility testing chart, bright neon colors are the way to go. That's the best way to protect your children in the water. And you'll see if you go to alivesolutions.com, they have not only pool water, but they have the same color chart for lake or ocean water so that you can see what types of colors work best depending on what type of body of water you're entering. So the impact of swim lessons, skill development, teaching children and adults essential swimming skills and water safety is crucial. It builds confidence and increases comfort in the water, reducing panic in emergency situations. And preventative education, awareness of water hazards and safe behaviors around the water is so crucial in making sure that our children make it through adolescence and up through their adulthood. Studies. Swim lessons can reduce the risk of drownings by 88% among children aged 1 to 4. Programs such as Swim Safe and Swim for Life show significant reductions in drowning incidents. The YMCA does a lot of work in drowning prevention. Our system used to have fun aquatic themed animal names. It is now switched and we have stages. We simplified when we switched to version 6. It's stages 1 through 6. And the nice thing with that is stages 1 through 6 are the same, whether you're a toddler, you're a school-age student, or you're an adult. We're teaching the same skills. The only thing that changes is the approach on how to teach it. With toddlers, it's going to be a lot more songs and games. They're going to move at a little bit slower of a pace. But a stage 1 is a stage 1. The main thing we're working on is comfort in the water and getting your head comfortably under the water. Stage 2, we're trying to get you vertical in the water. Stage 3, we're going to really start honing in on some stroke, freestyle, and swimming on your back development. Once you move to stages 4 through 6, that's when you're looking at actual swimming freestyle, breaststroke, backstroke, butterfly. So what the Y did was we came up with safety around water. And I'm going to go a little bit more into the safety around water programs in a couple of slides. So what we want to do is we want to enroll kids in swim lessons and encourage parents to enroll children in age-appropriate swim lessons. We want everyone to learn CPR. And you can start learning CPR. There's no age limit on learning CPR through the Red Cross. So the more people in our world who know CPR, the more people who would be available to help in an emergency situation. Something that's really important is installing barriers, making sure your pools, your bodies of water on your property have fencing that will prevent unsupervised access. And the most important thing we can do is be vigilant when we're supervising. Swim Safely, the Y, the Red Cross, all have programs where people can sign up to be water watchers, and they will sign a pledge making sure that they stay vigilant when they're at the water with anyone, not only their children. So it's important to make that a focus. What can we do to help? Public awareness campaigns. We need to raise awareness about water safety in the community. There's a lot going on right now that is doing that. New York State has done a lot of funding. Actually, I just saw yesterday, schools can now apply for grants that will transport children during school days to get swim lessons. Partnerships, we need collaborations between the schools, community centers, and health organizations. Something I'd like us to do, and this group is a great group to start that with, is create a Rockland County Drowning Prevention Alliance. We have great relationships with the hospital. We have great relationships with the NIAC Center, the local school districts. Get people together with a like mind about how we can make a positive impact in our communities in making us more drown proof. So now I'm going to go a little bit into the programming that we are currently offering. We here at the Rockland Y, we're fortunate to be one of 21 YMCAs nationally to receive a grant from the CDC through YUSA, where we had to partner with a community-based organization and try to provide 100 free swim lessons to children in need. We had some hiccups early on with picking our community-based partner, but ultimately we ended up partnering with the Haverstraw Center in North Rockland and with our relationship with the North Rockland School District, who gave us free pool time. We were able to get 56 participants in 8 weeks through completely free swim lessons. In conjunction with that, we were also able to provide all of those students free swimsuits, free goggles, and a drawstring bag. We were able to supplement. We ended up getting to 70 participants because we have a program we've been running with the NIAC Center since 2015, where the students who go to the NIAC Center after school program each come over to the YMCA. It's right across the street if you're not aware. They walk over 1 day a week, and those students, we typically take 14 to 20 of them at one time, and they go through an 8-week safety around water swim lesson. That has been something that I inherited, and we took a brief break during COVID, but before the end of 2020, we were able to get that back up and running with swim grants we get through the YUSA every year. That has been one of the most rewarding programs that we do here at the YMCA. And if you see the background of the picture there, those are NIAC Center kids during our swim lessons here at the Y. Something exciting that we just kicked off this summer, we have a new program and a new partnership with the Swim for Yinka Foundation. The Swim for Yinka Foundation was started this past year by Ziggy. She lost her husband in their backyard pool to a drowning incident. So she has young children and has decided she wanted to put together something to try to prevent that from happening to anyone else. So she has done a bunch of fundraising, and her organization has sponsored 20 adults to come and take swim lessons 2 days a week here at the YMCA for the summer. We are currently at capacity for that program for this 8-week session of the summer. But we're going to start right back up again in the fall with a new group of students. And we're seeing such positive impact in that community, and just the excitement that these adults have who are afraid of the water, and they're coming and we're providing them the tools they need to get over that fear and become pioneers in their communities. I have a little video that I think will, nope, it did not work. I'll try to pull the video up of that first group going through their swim lessons when I finish the presentation.
Yeah, is that link that you have at the bottom maybe the link to the video where it says Swim for Yinka?
Yes, this was supposed to be the link.
Mhm.
So when I pull out of the presentation, here, let me see if I can get it. Technology. So that link goes to the Yinka Foundation. But why is that one not working? Let me pull it up. But it's such an awesome video. What Ziggy is doing is she's providing free swim lessons to all of the people that she recruits for this program. Here we go. Let me see if I can change what screen I'm sharing. What are we seeing? My presentation or a picture of Ziggy, Sandra?
I'm seeing a picture and okay, now I'm seeing a video.
So that's our assistant aquatics director, AJ, and he's working with the adults in the water. Like I said, we have, I think we hit the max, which is 20 for the summer, that are going to be working with AJ. Oh, and there's the music. So they're going to be working with AJ all summer on teaching these adults how to swim. And what Ziggy would like to do in the future is open that up to provide free swim lessons to not only adults, to children as well. But in losing her husband, she wanted that first round really to go towards teaching adults, especially adults in the Black and Hispanic community, how to swim so that they can be safer and feel more confident with their children in the Let me go back to my presentation.
This program is going to run just through the summer or the whole year?
It's going to run through the whole year. She had a foundation luncheon where Cullen Jones, the Olympic swimmer, came and was able to fundraise. I don't know the exact numbers, but they did some pretty substantial numbers in getting funding for this program. And we're able to provide the pool space and the instructors at cost to them so that we can just get more people learning how to swim. It's a really great partnership that we were able to do. Let me just go back, just about done.
Well, we go back. James, I have a question here. Are swim lessons included if a child attends the 2 YMCA camps during the summer?
Yes, we do swim lessons at both of our camps during the summer. The kids will get pulled into small groups and work with an instructor on the safety around water curriculum. Absolutely. And we utilize some of our YUSA funding to provide the swim instructors at the camps for us so that it doesn't have to increase the rates of camp. Any other questions?
Not so far.
Okay. So in conclusion, drowning is scary and it affects everyone. It's a worldwide epidemic. The best thing we can do is teach our children to always ask for permission, and when they're in the water, proper supervision. We need to figure out ways to get our children into swim lessons. And finally, it seems like federally, they're starting to realize the epidemic and starting to put money aside to make swim lessons more cost effective for families. So if all of us can go and reach out to our local legislators and say, how can we build drowning prevention into school curriculums? That's really the only way we can make major impact. It's not always feasible for parents who work full-time, two parents working full-time, to find a time outside of the school day to get students or get their children swim lessons. We need to figure out a way to build it into school curriculums. We need to create partnerships and collaborations like the one with the hospital, where we can push and get legislators into meetings talking about the importance of drowning prevention. Thank you all for your time today. I think that's all I have. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer.
What do you do when children are scared of the water? Like you want to teach them, you know, the skills and whatever it is, and they just...
It happens. First thing I typically do is get the parents away. A lot of times, if a parent is afraid of the water, that fear gets transferred. And by no fault, the water is terrifying. It's shocking to me there aren't more students who end up in tears their first swim lesson. When you think about what we're trying to get them to do, a 3-year-old, we're taking you away from your parent. We're putting you in a body of water that everyone has told you is super dangerous with a stranger. What we try to teach our instructors to do is figure out something, a way to connect with that student. We work hard to make sure they know the different shows that are on, that are popular with younger children, Bluey or Blippi or whatever, and have conversations with the students about that type of stuff. Get their minds off of the water. Here at the Y, we have platforms that our pool is 3.5 feet deep in the shallow end. It goes up to 8.5 feet. What we do is we have these platforms where the students can stand. I'm a firm believer, and we give you the tools to succeed at the level you're at. So for all of my children, we have backpack floats here at the Y. They all wear the backpack float until they can start to swim without it. All of the lessons here at the Y, the students use the backpack float. And what we challenge our instructors to do is every day, you work a little bit with the backpack off, so the students are learning what it feels like to be in the water with nothing. It's really just knowing that it takes time and patience, and that all of the fears are warranted. And you have to create an atmosphere where the student wants to come back and wants to succeed. And it's really pushing every success that child makes and making a big deal about it. They get their chin wet today, we make a big deal about it. If they get their ear wet, we make a big deal about it. That's the only way really to get students past those fears. And then what you see is once they're past that fear, a stage 1 goes to a stage 3 pretty quickly. So it's just creating that connection and then slowly working them through those fears.
Is it more difficult for adults to learn how to swim?
Yes, considerably. Adults typically are fine where they can stand, but once you get to the deep end, they stop. So when I work with adults, I'll typically start them in the deep end and have them work to the shallow end. It just flips the script on them a little bit, and it pushes them a little bit harder to keep going so that they get to safety. But you'll often see a newer instructor who starts to work with adults. Their adults stop once they can't stand anymore. It's a lot to overcome deep-seated fears. And again, we have aqua exercising belts. So I am happy to put those on adults who are afraid in the water, because you can't learn how to do something if you're too scared to try. So provide the tools you need, and then we slowly take stuff away until you're comfortable.
Mhm. If you see somebody drowning, either, a river, a pool, or the beach, and you know how to swim, maybe you're not a professional swimmer or lifeguard or anything like that, how do you help that person?
So typically, if you're not a lifeguard and if you're not a even really strong swimmer, sometimes we'll struggle in that because when someone's going through a drowning incident, their brain goes into fight or flight and it's get to safety. And oftentimes, if you're not trained in it, you'll end up having two victims. The best thing you can do is find something to reach and get to that person and then pull them to safety. If you can stand, if it's a younger child and you can stand and they can't, go and help. But typically, you're going to want to get them something that then you can pull them to safety.
Mhm.
If you have to approach someone, you always want to try to approach them from the back so they don't see you coming. But as you grab them, you start to assure them that you're there to help them, tell them your name, anything like that. But you typically don't want to swim straight at someone who may be drowning because they're going to lunge for you and you can often find yourself becoming a victim as well.
Mhm. So I guess if the person is bigger than you, that is even worse, right?
It can be. The thing to remember in the water is for every 100 pounds you are out of the water, it's about 10 pounds in the water. So if you can get someone to, if it's a river or a beach, and you can just get them so that their head's out of the water or to a spot that they can stand, weight doesn't have a major factor on the ability to save someone in the water. So you just want to really come from behind, not that you want to surprise them, but you don't want them to be able to lunge for you. So from behind, you put your arms underneath them, underneath their elbow or their armpits, and then you lean them back and you can get them to safety that way. That's the safest approach, especially if you're not a lifeguard and you don't have some sort of rescue tube or something that you can reach to them.
Mhm. James, what about eating? Is it true that we have to wait for 30 minutes before we get in the water?
That's an old wives' tale. There's no relevance to that. I think that was just the way our parents used to get themselves a break from watching. So 30 minutes out of the pool is not something that there's any actual data that proves there's more danger within 30 minutes of eating.
Okay. Okay, well, we're running out of time and running out of questions. So thank you for your questions to our attendees. And thank you for explaining all these things to us. Do you have a flyer or something, James, that we can share with our community on the
Yeah, I'll send you
programs?
something. Yep,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that would be great because I would like to send that away. And especially, for example, the beautiful program that you have that is free. That's very thoughtful, actually. So thank you for making it possible because, without you, I'm sure that they wouldn't be able to do it, right? What are they going to go swimming in the Hudson River? I don't think so. I
Yeah,
wouldn't
no,
swim there.
absolutely.
So thank you so much. And
Thank
look
you.
forward to having you again. And maybe we can promote other YMCA programs because they're really good for the community.
That would be
Thank
great.
you to our attendees always for supporting us and for being here. And I will see you next week. Next week, we're going to talk about vaccines, if they're really necessary, as they say, or if we can skip one or another here and there. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you.